This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas, the South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching? This total has really crashed without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. Alex, we are one day closer to college football games on Saturday. We are one day closer to NFL games that will actually count as well.
Looking forward to it. I really am, especially having this week off of Aviators. A lot of crunch time, getting ready for football. So I'm very excited. But looking forward to today as well because we got a lot of good pitchers going on the baseball slate.
Another double dip scheduled in Chicago. Maybe they'll play 2 today at Wrigley after the second game got axed last night, and we could not have a bigger difference in wind than we did yesterday at Wrigley. So we'll get to that in a few moments, but a lot to get to here on the show today. Plenty of action here today on a Tuesday. Also, quick note, our NFL previews are coming along on the channel. So if you're looking for a team breakdown, we've been pre-recording them, so they're not during the show, but they are on the YouTube page. If you're on the YouTube page right now, just look. They're on the page. Watch them. You're going to have all 32 teams up within the next 10 days, so be on the lookout for those. And, of course, Football Frenzy comes back on Friday at noon. Moving forward this year, it will be at noon. Myself, Alex, Vinny, and Chris here on the desk at noon on Fridays. All righty, let's go to it, Alex. Let's start at Wrigley Field. 2 games today, and we will start with, again, if you're in Vegas, remember to bet the correct game. 981, 982 if you're going to the window today for game 1, which begins in a little bit over an hour at Wrigley. Cubs with the all-star Matt Boyd. Chad Patrick on the other side for Milwaukee at plus 135, minus 50 on Boyd. The wind is blowing in 12 miles an hour from left, so that's why you see a low total today at Wrigley at 7. And it is now minus 125 under 7. Brewers took the only game yesterday, so the second game of the doubleheader is now the first game today here for this one.
Honestly, I feel like the Cubs and Cubs fans are probably pretty happy that second game didn't go right. It looked like nothing could go right for Chicago, and they lost that first one 7-0. Their rookie Horton left early because of blisters. So, I mean, really, they kind of get a restart today with the doubleheader. I like them in this spot in the first game, but I'm probably not going to bet it. I just don't want to get in front of this Brewers train that they've just been so hot. But I do think that Matthew Boyd is the advantage. I think he's the better pitcher of the two, even though Chad Patrick's been pretty good in his last 3 and holding opponents to a 138 batting average. So that kind of keeps me off of it as well. But it's a lean to the Cubs side. I think this total is a little low, but you mentioned the wind, so that's a definite stay off for me.
Well, the wind is going to continue all day. It's going to be blowing in the whole way because game 2, we have a 6.5 for game 2, which is Woodruff, who has been awesome since coming back off the IL for Milwaukee. Really, honestly, everyone's been awesome for the Brewers. You can't go 41-9 in a 50-game stretch without everyone being awesome, which is what Milwaukee has done after the win yesterday. Tyone, who was supposed to pitch game 2 yesterday for the Cubs, is now going to go here in game 2 tonight for Chicago. They wanted to get Boyd against Patrick. Don't blame the Cubs at all, trying to get the best of it in the pitching matchup. -110 on Woodruff, -105 on Tyone, and this is the 6.5, Alex.
I'm actually tempted just to go blindly under the 6.5. I like both pitchers going, and you mentioned it with Woodruff. So if that weather just continues, I mean, how low is this going to go? We're going to see a 6? Would we be fortunate to get that hook?
So this is the classic, let's see what happens in the first game of the doubleheader. Because if the first game, let's say, look, Wrigley wind blowing out and we get like a 9. Let's say we get like 5-4 or something like that. This is going back to 7.
Yeah.
Now, if we get 1-0 or 2-1, might go the other way. Really, we're rooting for something that lands like 4-2, 4-1, something that's like a generic under game that's really just close to that 7, I think, more so than anything. I don't know. I think I would love to see this go to 7 and then bang it under, but 6.5, close. Again, the Brewers are just, they don't hit the ball hard, but they're first in the majors in runs. And their offense over the last 50 games is by far the best offense by runs scored in baseball. It has just been a miraculous run for the Brew Crew, who, again, are 9 games up on the Cubs entering today's action in the NL Central. And, again, with the Phillies winning last night. By the way, Dodgers lost to the Rockies. How about that last night? So, Philly, good over easy in Philadelphia yesterday. Nice. Again, Mariners have just played some super-duper overs this week. Phillies have the 2. Brewers still with a 7.5 game lead on Philadelphia for the 1 seed. It's looking more and more and more like we're going to be going baseball through Milwaukee for the whole postseason, as long as they're in it in the NL and just the majors at large, because they're ahead of the Jays by 8 games in the loss column as well. So they've extended out, to put it politely. All right, let's kick it back to the beginning of the NL card. We begin in Miami after that double dip. McGreevy and Cabrera tonight with the Fish and the Cards. Miami, a -145 favorite, a total of 8 down at Lone Depot Park here tonight. Cardinals yesterday get off the schneid. They win 8-3 in South Beach after getting swept by the Yankees and losing 2 out of 3 from the Rockies.
Jeff, can I interest you at all in laying 145 with the Marlins?
You cannot.
Exactly. That's where I am right now. I think that number is correct, but I really don't want to play Miami here. And my dad's number is much higher, so he's got an overplay, but I mean, both of these offenses, I can't really trust them. So this was an easy pass for me. I've got a lot of leans, but I really have no interest in betting this matchup here today.
Yeah, this is a tough price. This is a tough price. 15 cents either way, right? Like, I think you could justify betting McGreevy at this price, but Cabrera's been really good. And again, those young pitchers in Miami, who there's never been a question of the talent with Perez, with Cabrera. Just a matter of putting it together consistently with these high-end, tall, hard-throwing, young right-handed pitchers. So that's where we're looking at more so than anything. All right, let's go to Washington next. Mets lead in the wild cards down to 1 after Cincinnati won last night in Anaheim. It's going to be David Peterson, who's coming off of his worst start of the year. He was given a 6-0 lead, and by the time that the inning that he left in ended, the Mets were down 9-6. So Peterson, back-to-back bad starts, didn't pitch well against Cleveland either. Against Jake Irvin, who's pitched well against the Mets, hasn't pitched great against everyone else, but has pitched well against the Mets historically. -190 on New York, though, in D.C. Total of 9. I will say this, the Mets are starting to hit. Last week, it started on Sunday in that final game of that disaster series in Milwaukee. The Mets are starting to hit again. It's just a matter of their pitching getting their act in order, because the pitching has been a disaster over the last 2 weeks.
That's really funny, because I heard that too about Jake Irvin kind of having the Mets number, but
pitch well against them.
Does that end here today? I think the Mets is the right side. I would only be tempted to lay the 1.5. I think David Peterson can have a bounce back spot here, especially against this Nats lineup. He's been really good all year long. I don't really trust the Nationals against lefties, so it would only be Mets for me. Probably just lay the run line -120, but it's probably not going to make the board.
Jake Irvin, ERA over 500 record on a team that has the second worst record in the National League. Sometimes this sport just doesn't make much sense. But I'm steering clear. If anything, it would only be a look to the over. But this screams Peterson regresses to the positive here today after back-to-back bad starts and just a disastrous fourth inning last Wednesday night against Atlanta. All right, let's go to Colorado next. Boy, the Dodgers. Yamamoto starting against the worst team in baseball, and you lose the game? Really? 4-3. Didn't even get us to extra innings. We couldn't even get – I thought we were going to get – really, when I saw it was 3-3 after 7, I was like, all right, we're going to either get an explosion from the Dodgers or we're getting extra innings and we're going to get there on the total. And Colorado walked it off in the bottom of the ninth, so we didn't even get that opportunity. It's Sheehan today for L.A. against Gomber for Colorado. I mean, I'm going back to what I said over the weekend or last time Sheehan pitched. I guess it was last week during the week. I know it's the worst team, or one of the worst teams of all time, but almost $3 on the road. With Sheehan, I know he's pitched well enough, but that is a big price. Granted, the main reason I'm going to stay off of it is that Gomber has been mostly terrible since coming off the IL.
And that would lead me to going over that 12. I really do think both pitchers can get hit up in this one. I mean, Gomber, he gave 5 to the Cardinals, 6 earned runs against the Diamondbacks, 3 to Pittsburgh, and that was at home, but 4 to Baltimore, 5 to the Cardinals. So, I mean, just one time, 3 earned runs in his 5 innings pitched. This is a spot where the Dodgers should be able to put some runs on the board. Their team total, I believe, is 7.5, but I went back and looked, and the Dodgers have only gone over 7 runs twice since July. So twice in this month, so if that makes you feel any better, but didn't at all in July and twice since the All-Star break. So nothing I really want to get involved with here. Lean to the full game over, but I agree with you. I think that number's really high on the Dodgers. Big
one on Sheehan. Again, Dodgers sweeping San Diego, taking a 2-game lead, clinched the season series, lose to Colorado, but the Padres didn't take advantage last night either, so still a 2-game lead out west for L.A. Speaking of the Padres, 4 runs in the first for the Giants was enough last night. A little bit of controversy with a home run, now with a potential home run late in that game, but Padres fall by a run, now have lost 4 in a row after smoking the Giants in San Francisco last week, and then obviously we know what happened in L.A. Pivetta and Tang, this is a huge pitching advantage for San Diego. -210 on the Pods, total of 8 in this one, Alex.
And I do like the Padres in this spot, a little bit of a bounce back spot. Really, I don't want to bet the Giants, but I mean, when it's Robbie Ray, I will get involved. So this leads me to a Pirates spot here with Pivetta on the bump. I like the first 5. Lay that run line, and it's -135. I feel like that's a pretty good number here for a bounce back spot. I mean, kind of like you mentioned, the Giants put up 4, and that was it. They didn't do anything the rest of the game. I think they're going to have a tough time here against Pivetta.
Let's go to the American League. By the way, it'd only be Padres for me too, but I mean, Tang has been awful in his limited major league action this year. We go to Detroit. What a pitching matchup tonight in Motown as we get 2 of the 5 best starters this year in the American League. It's the best pitcher on the planet, TARIK SKUBAL, against Hunter Brown. Tigers with an annihilation of the Astros yesterday, 10 rock. Jack Flaherty pitched well, and the Tigers' offense exploded. So Detroit all the way back up to 8.5 in the AL Central. That race again, even though it got a little tight, that race is over. Houston, a 1.5 games ahead of Seattle, after Seattle got bombarded in Philadelphia yesterday, so Mariners can't take advantage. This is the best price you're going to basically ever get on Hunter Brown at +135. Just a matter of, do you want to go against SKUBAL? I do not, but that is a great price on Hunter Brown if you have the fortitude to do it here.
I'm with you. Actually, there's a +140 out there still, so that's
yes, there is.
Technically the best price, but you're right. I mean, you're never really going to get this. And I like the fact that the Astros just got shut out yesterday and we're embarrassed. So feels like everything's in play. The other thing is SKUBAL's last 2 starts were definitely his worst. And the one thing that really concerns me is he had 9 strikeouts combined in the last 2 starts and 4 walks. So, I mean, maybe a little bit of fatigue here. I think both pitchers are going to pitch well. I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I also like the first 5 under 3.5. Feels like a really good number there when we were talking about a 3 just yesterday with 2 other pitchers. So these 2 on the bump. The one thing, though, I should say, Jeff, is Hunter Brown looked awesome in the last start, and that kind of worries me a little bit, but I think he can pitch well here today.
He's been great all year. Again, for the Stros, they have it lined up with a dynamite 1-2. Of course, Framber, the other one. But again, right now, the current 3 seed in the American League, there's a little bit of a distance finally between Toronto and Detroit to Houston. 3 games in the loss column for both of them in front of the Astros. Again, Astros got upset by the Tigers in this exact situation. Final division winner, lost to the 6th seed a year ago. We have a dead heat in the wild card race in the AL now. Technically, the Yankees moved back into the 4th slot, but they've also played 2 less games. So it is a dead heat with Cleveland 3 games behind all 3, the Yankees, Mariners, and Red Sox entering today's action. So there's a lot of shuffling to be had in that wild card race, and even the AL West still, with Seattle still only a game and a half behind.
We're about to get to the Red Sox, but
yes, we are.
I'm a little concerned. Is this where we see them start to come back down to earth?
We could be. Orioles got them last night, 6-3. Good performance again by Rogers.
Oh.
Orioles might end up finishing 500 this season. They're only 9 under. Like they very easily could catch Tampa and not even finish in the cellar in the AL. Again, too far behind to realistically make any real run or anything, but it's showing a little bit of talent that we know was there all year. It just was such a horrible first 4 months to the season for the O's. Today they'll throw Sugano against Walker Buehler for the Red Sox. -30 on Buehler, +15 on Sugano, and a total of 9 at Fenway here tonight.
I like the over 9
Can't
minus
blame
120. I do. I mean, both pitchers average, maybe a little above average. I don't want to be too harsh, but I definitely think both offenses can put up some runs here. Sugano has been better as of late. That is the one thing that concerns me. 3 of his last 4, he did hold opponents to just 1 earned run, but I mean, I think that might have more to do with who he was facing. It was Colorado, the Athletics, and the Mariners, who we know can struggle. So I like this Red Sox offense. I do think that they can put up some runs. And Walker Buehler has been giving up quite a few. Gave up 4 to Houston. He's had 1 really good start against the Padres. So it would be over or pass for me in this one.
Up next, Alex, we go to Tampa. This is an interesting one today. Rays and Yanks. Yankees, of course, playing as the road team in their spring training facility, as we know. The Rays' season's really just fallen off. I really did think at the All-Star break that cooled off a little bit, but they still had enough, and they've never really recovered from that cooling that they had before the All-Star break. We've talked about the Yankees a ton, but finally, maybe last weekend, finally the switch flipped to the positive. They sweep St. Louis. They're probably going to take, I don't think they can catch Toronto with the way the Jays have played, plus the Jays have the tie break, so they have to get 1 game in front. But there you go, Yankees leading the top wild card, so they'll have the home 3-game series if the playoffs started today. Rodon and Boz, good pitching matchup. Yanks are -125, total of 8, wind blowing in Tampa tonight.
The one concern for the Yankees is now their bats get going and their pitching and even their bullpen is you have to worry about here. But I do like the Yankees today. I think that is the correct side. I mean, Shane Baz has not been good. Looking at his last 5 starts, he gave up 4 to the Athletics, 4 to the Angels, 5 earned runs and 8 hits against the Dodgers, 2 against the Reds, so that was good, and 8 against the White Sox. I think the Yankees are going to do just fine here. I think it's a big pitching advantage for Carlos Rodon, and I think he can pitch well here today. So Yankees, I think that's a good price on them too. I was going to avoid the bullpen, -125 first 5. Or if you want to lay the half a run, it's +115. But I'd probably just go with the money line, -125 for the first 5.
Should be a interesting one here today for this one with the Yanks and the Rays. All right, let's go to Kansas City next. Seth Lugo, Merrill Kelly, your pitching matchup. Royals and Rangers. You know, the Kansas City Royals are befuddling. They're befuddling. Playing well again. 3 games over 500. 3.5 out of a playoff spot. Again, will take a lot for them to get there. But hey, you know what? Maybe they knew what they were doing buying at the deadline. Yaz has been great since coming over from San Francisco. Rangers have fallen on hard times over the last 2 weeks. Here you go, Ray. The Royals are minus 110 with a Lugo. 8.5 your total. You can get minus 105 out there in Kansas City. Again, still somewhat alive here. Texas, Alex, I looked for a moment there out of the break that your big price on them to make the playoffs had a real shot, but it's been a brutal 2-week stretch for the Texas Rangers.
Well, it really has. And even yesterday, I mean, they had the lead and then gave it up late and, lost that 1-1. They have to get this one today with Merrill Kelly on the bump. So I think the Rangers is the correct side. I saw the first half run line. You could get half a run. It is minus 120, but I think that is a good bet right there. Seth Lugo, I don't trust completely. I do think Waka really helped them yesterday, and now it's kind of a step down. So I like Merrill Kelly here to help the Rangers. I believe he won his last outing. No, he did not. So, but still, I like. I'm going to go first half. Take the run line minus 120.
Yeah, can't really blame you there, Alex. And I'll just say this with on just one last note on the Kansas City end of things, where this has been a bizarre season. Any way you slice it, this has been a bizarre season for the Royals, where you thought going into this year, all right, one of two things happens. Either they fully regress because they were home road splits last year were so insane that, all right, a little regression at home, even if they improve a little on the road, that probably means they're going to be worse than they were a year ago, or they take a step forward.
Right.
Neither has really happened. They're kind of stuck. And they bought at the deadline when they really should have sold. A very weird season altogether in KC. But again, not dead. 3.5 out. If Boston's offense really cools off, I think Royals and Guardians have an opportunity again, but they would need some help. Probably from Boston more so than anything. I don't think the Yankees are blowing. Now that they've extended the lead back out, I don't think they're blowing a lead of 3 or more at this point. All right, one more AL only game before we take a short break before finishing the card here on a Tuesday. Let's go to Minneapolis. Joe Ryan and Lopez on the other side for the Athletics. I was going to say Oakland there for a second, and I didn't want to do that. But, Alex, really the story in this one, Lopez has been so good recently for the Athletics. Ryan has been Minnesota's best pitcher all year. Minus 135 on Ryan, plus 120 on Lopez. A total of 8.5, which feels a little bit high to me here tonight.
I'm with you. I mean, usually with a Joe Ryan start, you're getting a 7.5. So the books must not have really caught up to Jacob Lopez and his median.
Real quick, I just do want to hop in. There is wind. It is hot. It's not a lot of wind, but it is hot in Minneapolis, 85 degrees, which is basically as hot as you're going to go up there.
Yeah. No, that does make sense. I wouldn't really jump in full game. That would make me a little bit nervous, but I do like the first 5. And I'm also a little concerned, and I should just say, because Lopez has had 4 starts scoreless. So I really think that eventually, a team's going to get to him. But I would take a shot getting a 4 and going under that with both of these pitchers going today.
That's, you know what, that might actually be better, because then we don't have to worry about the St. Paul Saints bullpen, a.k.a. the Minnesota Twins bullpen at this point, and A's bullpen not much better at this rate now with obviously Miller, now a San Diego Padre at the back end. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to check in with the chat. We're going to check in as well with the trivia question that will be up. Also, there's a few starters named in the NFL and college football we want to at least bring to everyone's attention. May not change much. At least one of them won't change anything, but maybe the other 3 change some thoughts, or at least continue the thoughts you may be having, and also 5 more baseball games. We'll keep it here in a moment. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse. where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is smoke and fire. This is high stakes and wild cards. This is family and tradition. This is everything on the line. This is it. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas. The South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now. LVMS.com.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Happy to be with you as always. Let's continue on in baseball in a moment. But first, Alex, we got some action in the chat here this morning yet again.
Yeah, I see. I can't really fault Vicarious Vegas taking a shot with the money line price for the Brewers. Attila's in there. I'm going to pull it up and see who else and just say hello. But yeah, good stuff. And you said the same thing, right? Taking plus money with the Brewers.
Can't fault anyone at this point for doing that. They've only gone 41 and 9 in their last 50. I mean,
is that it?
It's pretty good. They're doing it in what some may think is smoke and mirrors, but again, their pitching is awesome. So,
yeah,
79 and 45 from the Milwaukee Brewers entering today's action. All right, let's go to interleague ball. Pittsburgh Pirates won a Paul Skeens start last night. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
And of course, the full game landed right on the total, and the first 5 went way over because, of course, it did. Game 2 of that series tonight in Steel City. The Battle of the M's. Max and Mitch, Scherzer and Keller tonight. And I'm a little bit surprised at how big of a favorite Toronto is here at minus 145. I'm not saying they shouldn't be favored, but I thought it should probably come 10 cents cheaper to minus 35, maybe even minus 30 on Toronto. Leads me to Pittsburgh, but boy, that's not a position I really want to take, especially after Toronto fell to the Pirates yesterday.
I agree. And Scherzer, you got to give him some credit because he really has been pitching pretty good in his last 5 starts. Actually, I'll go to 4 because he's only given up 3 earned runs, and that was to the Tigers. I almost said the Lions. I got football on my mind. But the last 3, I mean, he pitched really well. Went 6 and went 7 against the Cubs. 1 earned run, 2 for the Dodgers in 6 innings pitched. So I think he's pitching great, and he should be definitely the favorite, even though we've talked about Mitch Keller all year. And he started really hot, but now we're kind of seeing him come back down to earth. So that's the only case I could make for that side, but I'm not going to get involved. I think the number's right. No value either way.
We go to, excuse me. Let's go east in Pennsylvania. Let's go to Philly. Phillies last night. Huge offensive outburst. Mariners pitching, not been a good week for them. And they send their worst starter to the bump here tonight by the numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, and with Hancock power rated worse than Bryce Miller, but it had been a brutal stretch for Bryce Miller, who's on the bump for the Mariners here tonight against now the ace of the staff for the Phillies. Wheeler, by the way, had successful surgery on the blood clot, but didn't sound promising. There's still no timeline, so could be a while, a.k.a. next season for Wheeler, but we don't know. We still don't know for certain. But Christopher Sanchez, now the ace of the staff and the second Cy Young favorite in the NL, is a $2 favorite tonight, Alex. And you know what? I know Miller's been terrible. Yeah. I know Sanchez has been awesome. That is a wild price on the Mariners where you can get up to plus 190 on the M's.
Yeah, that's really where I am, too. I mean, I do like the Phillies. I like what I saw yesterday, but it is just a little bit high here. I was thinking maybe Phillies first 5, but even laying the run line is minus 140. I'm not trying to get involved with that. Even half a run there for the first 5, even though I do think Sanchez is much better than Bryce Miller. And the last 5 starts for him, he gave up 5, 3, 7, and 4. So I've got nothing, Jeff. I mean, really taking a shot at the Mariners at a huge number like that, I can't fault anybody for that either. But I do think that Phillies is the rightful favorite with Sanchez on the
huge number on Seattle. But again, the Phillies, Ace on the mound at home. Mariners pitching not the best over the last week. Let's go to Atlanta next. White Sox beat the Braves last time. Boy, it's just 13-9 last night. It was a 6-run fourth. Strider he's not the same guy anymore. He's just not the same guy. We wonder if he'll ever recapture the form of his rookie season again pre-injury. Again, still young, can figure it out over the next few years. Today it's Elder against Smith. Minus 55 on Elder, plus 40 on Smith. Elder with his best start in about a month. Last time out against the Mets last Thursday. Total 8.5 here, Alex. I think it would only be an over for me, but it would only be an over for me at 8.5. I don't expect Elder to pitch that well back-to-back times out.
I don't either. That's why I actually am leaning to the White Sox, trying to make a case for them. Even first 5, maybe it's plus 135. Plus 130 now, so they have taken some action. I actually kind of like the run line, though. You get half a run, and it's flat, minus 110. I do think that this could be tied up after 5. I like Shane Smith. We've talked about him a lot. I actually have more faith in him than I do with Bryce Elder on the other side, and the White Sox are playing good baseball. So, yeah, that's the only way I'd play it. First 5 White Sox run line here.
Nope, no complaints on my end for that one. White Sox first 5 run line is minus 110, so there you go. Getting a half a run in that one. All right, let's go to Anaheim next. Hunter Green, Kyle Hendricks, Reds and Angels. Green, first start back off the IL, was great against Philadelphia at home last week. Reds only a game behind the Mets in the National League wildcard chase, so they're squarely in the ballgame entering the final 6 weeks of the season. Hendricks, we know the deal for Hendricks at this point. Just a matter of locating, as it's always been his whole career, but even more important now that the stuff is not as good. Minus, this I feel is a pretty good price on Green. Minus 130 for a full game. Yeah, he's minus 155 for the first 5, but that's a pretty good price on Cincinnati. 25 cents less than the first 5 for the full game.
I agree. I don't think I'm going to jump in that way. I think I'm going to take a shot and try and trust Kyle Hendricks to make it through the lineup once or twice. I like that first 5, the fact that they are giving us that 4.5, minus 120. I'm going to go under that. I think that Green can do it again. I don't know if he's going to go scoreless for 6 innings and just 3 hits like he did against the Phillies, but I do think that he can pitch well here today. And like I said, I think Hendricks can do just enough to help keep us under that 4.5. Maybe the Reds get 2 on him, but that's the way I think I'd play this one.
Cincinnati, 1 game back, still haven't been swept, which you brought up yesterday. Miraculous. Well, there's an argument that Cincinnati should have swept that series against the Brewers, but they didn't. But they did salvage their final game. Again, only 1 game out. They are squarely in it. And again, that NL wild card race, none of the 3, well, again, up until this weekend, the Padres were playing great. 4-game losing streak now. Yeah. The Cubs and the Mets have been in a historic rut up until that series win against Seattle. And the Cubs are not hitting, which was always the worry that when the hitting slows down, that they don't have enough pitching, and that has been the case during the stretch where, again, the Cubs are still in completely fine shape, still 4 games up, still plenty good at the moment to be in the postseason and likely host that wild card weekend. Well, I guess wild card week. Wild card weekend's football. See, football's on my mind too. All right, let's go to Arizona next. Guardians took game 1 off the D-backs last night. Bobby and Rodriguez here in game 2. Total of 9, Alex, and Arizona minus 120 favorite at home.
Man, I hate to end the good slate like this, but I've got absolutely nothing between these two. The Guardians, I think we kind of expected it, right? They went on a nice little run there, but kind of coming back down to earth. And I don't know what to do with the Diamondbacks because this was a team that was one of the best lineups in baseball and now really don't have much to play for. So I think the numbers are right there with Eduardo Rodriguez on the bump over Bybee, but nothing really that I want to jump in on.
You and I agree. It's a shame this was the last one listed because it was a really good card here today. But this one, probably one of the 3 or 4 weakest betting games on the board here tonight. All right, let's go to some football here, Alex. And let's go through some starters that have been named again on the college and NFL side. Starting in the NFL, we figured Joe Flacco was going to start for Cleveland week 1. He gets the nod. From a betting perspective, it changes nothing for me. I assumed that he was going to play the whole way, at least early for Cleveland. They'll get off to a bad start more likely than not, and then it's just a matter of, do you play Dylan Gabriel or do you play Shedeur Sanders at that point? Kenny Pickett, honestly, they should try to trade Kenny Pickett.
Right.
There's no use for him on this roster. Cleveland still would tied for the lowest win total, one of the lowest win totals in the NFL at 5.5. This doesn't change anything for me. Week 1, real quick, before Flacco was named the starter, was 5.5. And now that Flacco's been named the starter, it is still 5.5. So again, the number hasn't changed at all. The total did move slightly at the moment. It went up to 46, went down to 45.5, went back to 46. So the total did go up a point with Flacco being named the starter, which I'm not sure why that justifies. Again, I really think if you were fully paying attention going this offseason, it was pretty clear Flacco was going to start week 1 and then probably get benched third of the way through, halfway through this year when the Browns are 1-7, something like that.
Well, I mean, the last that we saw of Flacco, right, it was like 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So maybe that's why the total a little bit with turnovers. And
yeah. He is good for scoring for both teams, as we know. Even with the comeback player of the year, we were talking about this yesterday. Like, Flacco would have a 4 touchdown, 3 interception game.
Right.
So he's very turnover prone. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
But you are right. Could be well, again, here's the problem though. Playing Cincinnati week 1.
I was going to say Bengals, right?
Yeah. So we know Cincy's defense not any good. Didn't look good last night either when the first team unit was out there against the Commanders.
But like you said, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders both did enough in their preseason starts.
They should both make the roster. It would be silly if again, this is why Kenny Pickett should be the guy to go.
Yeah.
There is no reason for that. You've no money in these kids. You used a little bit of lower draft capital, put them both on the roster. If they're both healthy week 1, you just figure out who's the actual backup to Flacco, which is, I think, a legitimate competition at this point between the two of them. Even though I would lean to Shedeur, he can do more. But maybe you want Dylan Gabriel as the number 2 guy because you know that Dylan Gabriel going to be ready regardless. Again, Shedeur is still nursing that injury, even though he's back at practice here today. All right, here's one that came down this morning. Indianapolis. It's Daniel Jones's job. Now, there are a lot of ways to look at this. But we'll take the betting perspective first. The number moved from pick to Colts 1.5 yesterday. So someone knew this news yesterday beforehand with this line going up to 1.5. This morning it moved from 1.5 to 2 with books that had the option as well. So look, for me with Indy, I don't like either of these guys. I think Daniel Jones, you know what he is at this point. He's a below average starting quarterback. But boy, for Anthony Richardson, I understand that he had the finger injury, but he played this past weekend in the preseason game. You can't be that Daniel Jones at this point. What are we doing here? And it's also kind of for me, it was always a risky pick. Kid only had 1 year's worth of starts.
Right.
The closest to that, and he had less reps than Trubisky did when Trubisky was drafted number 2, and that didn't work in Chicago. At least Trubisky got a few years as with some competency. He won a division, he made the playoffs. At least had that. He had nothing with Anthony Richardson in the end, and this more likely than not ends the Anthony Richardson era in Indianapolis, unless if Jones gets benched or injured early in the year and Richardson comes in and plays really well. But boy, that incident with the taking himself out of the game because he was fatigued, he never recovered from that, Alex.
I mean, this doesn't have to end the experiment. I mean, I feel like it's more Steichen trying to save his job and get a few wins here and have him develop behind Daniel Jones, see what they have with him. Honestly, I'm more interested in a fantasy perspective and whether Jonathan Taylor's stock just went up since Daniel Jones isn't quite the dual threat quarterback like Anthony Richardson. So that's where I was looking at this. But I also do think that makes that division a little more interesting. I know a lot of people are high on Jacksonville to try and take it from Houston. I am not. Does that make the Colts a little bit closer to the Houston? That's how I'm kind of looking at it, where I am right now.
By the way, it's now 7 different starters in 8 seasons for Indianapolis with Daniel Jones getting the week 1 nod. Luck, Brissett, Rivers, Wentz, remember that disaster? Matt Ryan, Richardson was the opening day starter the last 2 years, and then Daniel Jones. Boy, the Wentz disaster. 16-point favorites at Jacksonville week 18. Yeah, not good enough. And he still hasn't won in Jacksonville in over a decade, too, so that probably won't end this year either. All right, college-wise, real quick. So Julian Sain was officially named the starter yesterday at Ohio State. That was the operating assumption by basically everyone. Very talented 5-star out of Carlsbad. A lot of arm talent. Just a matter of how quickly is he going to be able to adapt to the speed of the college game. A few reps last year, technically a red shirt, only played in 4 games in limited reps. You see Sain there is 20-1 to win the Heisman. That's second best for Ohio State players. Of course, Jeremiah Smith is the 4th favorite overall, even though at the college football panel that I hosted at Bet Bash with Brett McMurphy, he made the point of it's going to be almost impossible for a non-quarterback to win it this year because Travis Hunter won it last year. I tend to agree with him on that. But Alex, for me, it doesn't change anything. Sain was penciled in basically by everyone as the starter going into the year, and now we just have to see if he's good enough. Again, we saw 2 years ago the struggles at quarterback by McCord.
Right.
Last year, Will Howard was more than good enough to win a national championship. You would hope for Ohio State is hoping that Sain is closer to Howard than he was to McCord, who, again, underachieved greatly in that 1 year as the starter at Ohio State.
Yeah, I think that says a lot about the coaching, too, though, and the adjustments that they made. Now they will not have Chip Kelly there.
Yep. 2 new coordinators, of course, at Ohio State. Yep.
So it will be interesting. But, yeah, no, I was expecting Sain as the starter, just like with Ty Simpson. Those two are – but you have one more big one that was named.
Ty Simpson was technically named the starter, but I didn't hear anyone saying that was even a real competition down there at Alabama against Simpson, who's 20-1. I definitely would not bet that. I just don't think he's good enough. If Alabama's as good as Brett Sasancia said to us yesterday, Kalen DeBoer is going to be the national coach of the year because I just don't trust what I've seen from Simpson in the small sample size that we've seen. By the way, of course,
might not be a terrible bet there.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And then the last one up, Notre Dame.
No, yours, coach of the year.
Well,
more than anything.
not really a bettable market, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'll say this with the last one up. So CJ Carr gets named the starter at Notre Dame. You see him and Minchie were both 50-1. Those numbers haven't changed. Minchie will move way down and whenever they're updated over at DK and FanDuel or whatever else. But Alex, you gave me an interesting note on the Notre Dame quarterback situation where I always thought Carr was slightly ahead of Minchie, but it was negligible. But you even brought up that it was that by power ratings that it was a 3-horse race almost for that Notre Dame starting job.
Yeah, that is. Looking at my grandfather's notes here and him rating out all the players, he did have all 3. Now I don't have that sheet right there. Do you know who the third one is?
Well, you said Blake Herbert was the third one.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. You could have also argued for Buckner, but I really think those 2 guys are way in front of.
You had Carr just a half a point above both of the other 2, so we'll see.
Yeah, I would, for Notre Dame, very simple. And this Notre Dame-Miami game, and this is why I've said, I know everyone's eyeballs are on Ohio State and Texas. Everyone's eyeballs are on LSU and Clemson. Notre Dame and Miami is a ginormous game week 1, where Notre Dame, their first 2 games of the year are really the 2 games you could see them losing, at Miami and A&M at home. Those are the 2 toughest games on their schedule. Yeah, they have to go on the road. See my I have my hard copies too here, Alex. Notre Dame on the road at Arkansas week 5 is a weird one, but they're way better than the Hogs. Week 12 at Pitt. Some people seem to really like Pitt this year. I don't see it at all. At Boston College, they'll win. At Stanford, they'll win. They're arguably their 3rd toughest game is Boise State at home. So Notre Dame wins those first 2 games. Notre Dame could go 12-0. Granted, of course, they went 11-1 last year with a totally absurd loss to Northern Illinois, who, again, as Vinny and Chris told us last year, Northern Illinois was a 27.5-point underdog when they won in South Bend last year. Would have been an even bigger underdog by the end of the season if they played Notre Dame again. By the way, my Notre Dame small favorite against Miami. By the way, after continuing more and more and more with everything, because, again, rough numbers, and now we're really firming everything in.
It's a good week to do that.
Miami's roster is loaded. They're loaded. It's just a matter of how does Mario Cristobal manage to screw it up. Their roster is every bit as good as Clemson's roster.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Yeah, good. But I like Klubnik more than I like Beck. So that's really why I still have Clemson ahead of Miami. But the rest of the roster is really, really good. It's just a matter of Cristobal. And Dabo's obviously better than Cristobal. So there you go. There's the prop, by the way, available here at the South Point. Which conference will have the national champion? The SEC, smallest favorites over Big Ten. Plus 135 on the SEC, plus 140 on the Big Ten. 10-1 on the ACC. 10-1 on Notre Dame in the G5, which really just go bet Notre Dame because none of the G5s winning the title. And then 20-1, it's been pushed out on the Big 12, which that might be the most fun conference this year, but none of those teams are capable of winning 3 or 4 playoff games, which they would have to in order to win the title, Alex.
I'm excited to dive in with you. Saying that makes that ACC very interesting because I am very high on Clemson. And with Dabo there, them actually having a shot. So if you could get 2, right, and and Miami could have a shot too.
Some people are higher on SMU. I am not. Some people are higher on Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech has the potential to be quite good in that league. Some people are higher on Louisville. Love the coach, love the quarterback, but don't love the rest of the roster that much.
Yeah.
So, again, interesting league yet again in the ACC. I probably am going to end up playing over 9.5 on Miami.
I can't believe this.
Which you know will end
if
up
anybody watched our show.
You know will end up happening if I do that, Alex. Actually, I can get 9 here at the South Point, so that would be the move at even. But you know what will happen if I do that. Carson Beck will not look good or will get injured, and I'll be stuck with the backup quarterback, and I'll be stuck with Cristobal having to win close games. That's not a recipe for success. But again,
so they must not be going to the West Coast like last year.
Miami's longest road trip this year is to Dallas at SMU.
That helps, huh?
Yeah, they don't have to. Well, remember, they won that game at Cal last year, and just remember, it was the most asinine fashion of all time.
Yes.
But they did win that game.
Everybody had that circled as the game that
it was the greatest spot of all time. And Miami won the game, and I'm pretty sure they ended up covering, even though they were down by 3 scores in that game. There are a lot of ridiculous Miami games a year ago with them. Look, but that's the nature of having a bad coach, though. You have all this talent, but you end up with nonsense, which is what kind of Cristobal's tenure in Oregon was as well. So we'll see how it all plays out. And again, this week we'll be talking Big 12 either tomorrow or Thursday.
Yes.
And we'll definitely be talking Big 12 on Football Frenzy on a Friday because K-State and Iowa State right out of the gate, very important game in that conference. And also Kansas is in action as well on Saturday. So 3 teams that are all, look, if things go right, all 3 of those teams are in competition to potentially go to Arlington, especially after last year with a team that I picked to finish last in the league, won the league at Arizona State.
You were not alone, yeah.
Wide open league yet again in the Big 12. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we get back, we'll give you the trivia answer. We'll give you Alex's whiteboard, and we'll wrap things here on a Tuesday right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
This is speed. This is winning. This is losing. This is NASCAR in Las Vegas, the South Point 400, a NASCAR playoff race, October 10th through 12th. Get your tickets now.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We don't make stuff up here.
I would only play the Pirates team total going under.
What the hell happened to Minnesota's pitching?
This total has really crashed. without plumbing the lineup.
I think this number's too high, but they're laying me the 6.
Oh, I know.
Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA.
Never mind all these Mickey Mouse other stations. We are giving you hands-on information.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Alex, one quick note before we get to the trivia question.
Yes, we need to check in and say hi to everybody because Joey B, a lot of our regulars in here, JR and Nick.
I'm
and
surprised
Rob
Joey
S.
B's not broke. His sportsbook ran out of business, apparently.
But somebody did ask if I was going to be in the Circuit Invitational, so I just wanted to answer that because I'm very excited. I do get to be in that contest once again. And then I did write to Attila because I will see him at the next homestand. We had some social media chat, but I got Cofield and Company tomorrow.
There you go.
So that's it.
All right.
Let's get some picks.
Let's get some picks in a second. You can get everything pen to paper. Well, I guess marker at the board, not pen to paper. It's already on pen to paper already. But while Alex is doing that, let's go to the trivia question today. American golfer Homero Blancas shot a record-setting 55 in an amateur tournament on this date in 1962, which stands as the lowest recorded round in the history of competitive golf, and let's face it, probably never getting broken. Which tournament did Blancas achieve this feat at, and what nickname did he earn after completing the historic round? And that was at the Premier Golf Invitational in Longview, Texas. And Mr. Blancas, also known as Mr. 55. Can you imagine, like, in a real golf tournament shooting 55 for a whole round? Can you even imagine?
No.
I mean, we can't even go 55 on the front nine in a normal day. But what a insane 27 on the front, 28 on the back. Look at all those circles. Look at that. Birdies and eagles, no bogeys, obviously, for Blancas on that day. And JR got them both right. Vince, is that a 1-game lead for JR?
Yep.
1-game lead for JR. 8 days to go in the month. So JR and Nick going to be battling it out for the rest of the month. But again, unless if someone else in the chat gets the trivia question right, we're heading towards, more likely than not, a 1-game difference between the two. We should make prices on this.
Yes,
Vince, that's now in the job description, making a price on who's going to win the trivia month battle between JR and Nick. But there you go. So Mr. 55 for Homero Blancas.
I'm sure Joey B would do it for us if we.
No, I don't want Joey B's numbers. He'll get them wrong. We don't need to embarrass. We don't need to embarrass the book of Joey B anymore, and take more of his cash. All right, Alex, ready to go here for the whiteboard?
I'm ready to go. Yeah.
On a Tuesday morning as we get ready for another day of action here on the card. By the way, also, chat question was who's going to win the AL Cy Young. 25% of you, I don't know what you're doing because SKUBAL only won 75%. So maybe Joey B just stuffed the ballot box on the 25%, trying to get off the liability there, Alex.
Or maybe some people were just playing along and just hitting anything. inside joke between the studio here. Okay, here we go. My best bets for this Tuesday. I am going with an over here in Boston. The Orioles and the Red Sox were going over that 9. They got to 9 yesterday with 2 better pitchers on the bump. So I think both lineups are going to put up some runs. I'm going with the Rangers. First 5 run line, so I'm getting that half a run. In that one, I'm going Athletics and Twins under 4. That is first 5 as well. We're trusting Jacob Lopez and it's Joe Ryan on the other side. And then White Sox, if you want to keep one off of yours, this is my favorite bet of the day. So that might help. It's Shane Smith. They won yesterday. I really like him a lot. We're going first 5 run line, getting that half a run. So usually, you know how that is. The best bets, that's usually
you never know. Hey, look.
One that falls. So
that's, I'll tell you, wow. The White Sox, always a fun day when they make the card, right?
Yeah.
Them and the Rockies. I don't remember the last time the Rockies made the card on a side.
Forgot the Astros. I do like the Astros getting plus money there with Hunter.
Plus 40.
And I like
price.
that under in the first 5. So
there you go. All right. So those are some
White
leans
Sox
that didn't quite
snuck
make
in
it.
before.
Hey, look, price is not
SKUBAL game.
teams, right, Alex? Price is not teams,
That's
as
right.
always, here on the show. All right. We're back tomorrow. More baseball, more football as we lead up. 10 a.m. Pacific time. Alex and I are back. Also, again, programming note, Friday, 2 shows moving forward for football season. We'll have our normal 10 a.m. It'll be a nice little capsule of what's going on that day.
Yes.
Baseball, when hoops and hockey come back, that as well. The football games that are occurring on that Friday, and then Football Frenzy at noon. This week will be an hour. We'll be going a lot more than an hour, as much as 2.5 hours starting next week with all the college football action, and of course then NFL and college the week after that. Myself, Alex, Chris Andrews, Vinny Maliulo, getting you ready on Football Frenzy at noon every Friday moving forward here on the show. That's 3 East, noon Pacific, here on Sports by the Book. We're back tomorrow. She's Alex. I'm Jeff. Thanks to the crew as always, Ryan, Jerry, Vince, and Drew Dog, and Sean. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio, live as always from the South Point Hotel and Casino here in Las Vegas.